Station, this is Houston. Are you ready for the event?
Houston, station's ready for the event.
Indiana State Senate, this is Mission Control in Houston. Please call station for a voice check.
Station, this is Senator David Long of Indiana. How do you hear me?
Senator Long, I have you loud and clear, all the way from Indiana to the International Space Station. Welcome aboard.
Great to be here, Commander Ford. Thank you so much.
Well, David, I understand there's quite a little bit of a delay, and I know you all have some questions. I'll go ahead and say just a few words if I could. First of all, it is really great to have you aboard the International Space Station with me all the way from Indiana. It is an honor to be on the Senate floor with you there in the State House today. I understand it's a beautiful day in Indiana. I really probably should be at a window trying to get a good picture. I've had a lot of passes over the state lately that were unfruitful for me because of a lot of morning fog and clouds and snow. But that's what you get with the winter months. Anyway, my heart is there. Of course, I haven't been living in Indiana since I graduated from Notre Dame because I had a career as an Air Force officer. And then, of course, I've been in NASA now for about 12, 13 years. But I come there often, and my family's there. I understand they're with you today in the State House, and I really appreciate you having them there and taking good care of them today. As you know, some of you know my brother David, who served alongside you, and he was just as I'm honored to speak with you today. He was just so honored to serve in that group. He respected everybody and that worked in the State House with him. And he just loved serving the people, and it's just an honor for me to be able to speak with so many of his friends that are still there, and people who know him and benefited from what David brought there. So it's a huge honor to be with you, of course, and it's also an honor. I'm very proud of where I came from, and I'm also obviously very proud of where I am right now. This is an amazing facility we have in space. Not that many people, really understand what we're all about here. We have about 150 experiments going on right now. Some of them inside the space station that I work with every day and as a crew member, and many of them outside the space station that the ground controllers in Houston are taking care of that we're not even aware of. And it's just, there are experiments right outside my window right now gathering data about the universe. Some of them alpha magnetic spectrometer, things about like dark matter and stuff that's really abstract. Other things on board like working with medical issues and stuff for the people on planet Earth. So it's really an important facility. One of the things I'm most proud about is that it's also a work done by an international group in cooperation. It is the one facility on the planet where some countries came together, countries sometimes with even very different interests. 15 of the most affluent countries who had a lot to offer, came together and thought about humankind 100 years from now and what we could do now to make a difference in the future. And I have Russian cosmonaut crewmates just literally 50 feet from me right now who I rode up and down with to get to the space station. I'm in a Japanese module right now. I was introduced to you by a Canadian Capcom that I was talking to just before I came on, and it's truly an international effort. And it really is, I think that it's going to make a difference in the future of the planet. It's really a program for the planet, I think, if you will. Another thing that's really cool about it is 90% of the world's population, if they know when to look, they can go out in the evening or the morning and look in the sky and see their space station fly over. So it's really a space station serving them and visible to them, and I just think it's just a really, really cool thing. So I'm really honored to be here. It's a short, even though I've been here a little over 105 days, and I've got just about another 40 on board. It's really a short stay for me. It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and the fact that you guys were to come on, be able to come on board with me and talk to me just a little bit about it while I'm here is really special. And hopefully I'll get to come back and see you and tell you even more about it when I get home, given that our short time our time is limited on board here. So with that, I'll go ahead. Like I said, there's a bit of a delay. I'll turn the mic off, and I think you have some questions for me that I'd love to answer for you.
Well, Commander, first of all, I want to welcome everyone participating today, and that means school children across the state of Indiana as well. And in particular, we wanted to note Mrs. Brown's first grade class at Seton Catholic Elementary School in Richmond, Indiana. We want to give them a special shout out. But to all the young people watching, hello and welcome. I have several questions, and I'll just ask them in sequence and let you answer them, Commander. The first one, you mentioned some experiments. Could you maybe describe the type of experiments you're conducting, and how will it help, that research help people on Earth?
Yeah, so we have a group of scientists on the ground, that really all over the world, who really have had problems that they've wanted to solve, and a zero gravity, if you will, we call it microgravity, but it's essentially zero gravity environment, is a great place to solve these problems. Stuff I've worked on since I've been here, one is just 10 feet from me, was in a fish aquarium, and we had fish on board called Medaka that have bones identical to mammals, it turns out. Not all fish do, but these did. And as a science experiment to actually study the way bone is created and destroyed. And of course, astronauts, we lose a fair amount of bone mass while we're up here, and it's very closely related to osteoporosis. And they have a real good chance of making a huge difference in osteoporosis in the elderly in the future. And wouldn't that be wonderful if someday osteoporosis was a thing that we used to talk about instead of had to live with? We have that's some medical. We have a lot of different things that they look at us medically, because we're essentially almost in a bed rest state up here, not having to carry our own mass around all the time. So we really have to look at preventive measures, much like you'd have to look at with some bed rest patients and stuff on the ground. We also can use it as a test bed for spacecraft development. Out in the hallway here in the last few days, we did some experiments called capillary flow, where we're looking at how bubbles move around inside vessels. And I know if you've been in a hospital and you've seen maybe the nurse trying to flick bubbles out of the end of a syringe, by studying the way the surface tension works and stuff in bubbles in a microgravity environment with bigger bubbles, they can understand what's going on there. And someday that'll be a thing of the past too. We'll know how to control bubble formulation in vessels, and it's also applicable to fuel and fuel tanks and that sort of thing. Outside, we're looking at robotic refueling for someday spacecraft. We'll be able to visit, say, satellites already out there and robotically refuel them. We just did some stuff outside on the space station in the last weeks, made huge progress on that. And we also got some experiments outside called MISSY that are looking at the way materials handle the space environment. And of course, that's very important too for future spacecraft and satellites that we want to last a long time. So it's just, that's 4 mentions of a broad brush. I mean, there are literally hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of ideas, about 150 going on at the current time. So it's pretty incredible what we can do.
Commander, our next question is, education is a big issue for us here in Indiana. As a graduate from Blackford High School and Notre Dame, both here in Indiana, what classes did you take in high school and in college to prepare yourself for the life of an astronaut?
Well, let me tell you, when I was in high school, I didn't see myself as an astronaut. I certainly would love to have been. I was in love with aviation. I saw myself as a pilot at that time. And I enjoyed physics and math and science. So I took the things I enjoyed. And I would encourage students to find the areas they really love the most and just put their heart into those.